It pained me to put Mercy anywhere on this list, but I can't argue with the stats available to me just because I don't agree and hate Mercy so much. These stats are from Overwatch, and while they are not exactly perfect, they do show a reasonably close accuracy. We're gonna bring up number 5 as Baptiste, and this one has a little bit of a personal bias, so stick with me. The stats as of recording this video on Overbuff, he has a 2.12% pick rate and a 48.01% win rate. He's actually gonna be the only one on this list with a sub 50% win rate, but there's a reason that I'm choosing to put him at the very bottom and at least on the list, because I'm sorry, if Mercy made it, Bap's on this list. The biggest advantage that you have with Baptiste is that he is essentially a Soldier 76 who can also lob some healing grenades if you can actually land them, and I can't tell you enough how much I think he is probably the more underrated hero because he's getting outdated. I think that a lot of people still regard him well. I'm not ignorant to that. There's still a lot of Baptiste played in ranked, and I just want to make sure that he ends up on this list. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I was a Baptiste one trick for a while, and it pained me to make a list where he just didn't exist, so here we are. Baptiste's biggest strength is that he does an insane amount of damage, especially if you can hit your shots better than I can, with some healing as well. He does Soldier 76 like damage, but he can also do the healing in between, which is kind of insane. You don't get that out of a lot of the other ones where you can do both at the same time. Like here, he does a decent amount of damage and a decent amount of healing, but she doesn't do as well with the weaving, the healing, and damage in between each other as Baptiste can. Now that we've talked about his biggest strength, let's talk about his biggest weakness, which would be dive compositions. Honestly, if you have more than about 2 or 3 dive heroes on the enemy team that are well coordinated, even a really good Baptiste player is going to struggle. It's almost not worth playing him at that point, if I'm being honest, and that pains me to say out loud. When I one-tricked him, I played that kind of situation quite a bit, and it was very painful. It was a thing. You could do it because he has 3 health pools. I mean, you just use your abilities well and it'll work. It's still, at the end of the day, much better to just pick a hero that would have a little bit more movement, or at least have a little bit better opportunities to withstand the dives that come in. If you want a guide for that, make sure you check the description. I will include one for every single hero on this list. All of them are from Kajor. Or Kajor, I'm not really sure how you say his name. Super nice guy, very humble. One of the creators I've kind of seen up and coming. He's underwent a lot of pressure from YouTube in the last little while, and I just wanted to give him a personal little shout out in these videos. Coming in at number 4, we have Illari, or Illari, as she's actually spelled. I don't know what's up with Spylo constantly saying it like that. Illari is a lot like Baptiste in the sense that she has a very decent amount of damage output while also being able to heal, and that is actually not the way you want to heal. That is, and don't throw it like that before the internet comes at me in the comments. Don't actually throw it right in front of the enemies. That would be a very silly thing to do. Illari's overall pick rate is 1.23%, and she has a 51.85% win rate, which is really good. Anything above 50%, you're just giving yourself a statistical probability of actually winning the game. Like I said, her biggest strength is very similar to Baptiste in the sense that she has some healing output that can happen while she's doing damage. I would even argue in a lot of ways that if you can position your pylon well and learn how to do that, that Illari is just a better Baptiste in a lot of ways, which again, that pains me to say. Illari's weakness though is going to be, in my mind, into brawl composition, because she's going to struggle to continue to move that pylon at a pace where the healing output can continue. She really thrives more in like a poke, but I just think that when you're going into a brawl, that typically means you yourself are also playing brawl, and that's just going to be really hard to keep up with your healing for generally. Now that's my opinion. I always put my disclaimer out there that I could be dead wrong. I'm always open to constructive feedback in the comments because I'm just throwing stuff out there to let you guys have your thoughts shared too. Again, check the description for the guide from Kajor on her. I think that you guys will be very glad that you did. Coming in at number 3 is a hero that I have always struggled with, and that would be Zenyatta. Zenyatta is also another one of those supports that really shouldn't be considered a support in a lot of ways. He just has a lot of damage output, and because he does heal, he by default ends up in the support category, so I mean, I get it. Zenyatta's pick rate is much higher. It's kind of crazy how much he's getting picked right now at 3.07%. I'm not too sure what the reasoning reasoning behind the higher pick rate on Zen is not that he's bad. That's just a really high pick rate, and I don't quite understand. That's literally all it means. His biggest strength is an insane amount of damage output, especially if you can land some decent right clicks. I mean, look at this poor tank bot's shield. We're just gonna kind of sit here, not that I'm saying you should shield bot, but you can do some serious damage. 3 headshots on a standard bot here, and you are in good shape. And I'm telling you, if you can figure out how to land your Discord orb right before you're hitting a target as well, you don't even need 3 shots at that point. Not 3 headshots, just 2 headshots right there. You see that? It's insane how quickly he can do damage. The other thing that I think a lot of Zen players do well is the right clicks as well. You don't really need to go for headshots. You can kind of see where you could really get a pretty good volley, and you're going to put out the insane amount of damage that gets you the pick. That's what I'm telling you. It's nuts how much of a glass cannon Zenyatta is. His biggest weakness is not going to be all that surprising to many of you, in that his weakness is dive compositions. He has absolutely no mobility. Illari and Baptiste, at least, you know, you have a vertical mobility with Baptiste with his rocket boots where you might be able to get away. Zen, you're just screwed. Winton dives you, it's literally over. I'm telling you right now, if you are playing Zenyatta into even one dive hero who is targeting you and you haven't swapped, you are throwing your game. Get off Zen. The other thing I will briefly mention with Zenyatta, because there's going to be one other hero that comes up in a moment that I will mention this with as well. He is going to really heavily struggle unless you have a higher healing output, other support. That is going to be a really big thing for Zenyatta, because he has a single target healing, and as you can tell, it is very slow. If you look at that, if they're getting burst damaged at all, and you don't have like a Kiri or a Baptiste or an Illari or just basically any other support that can actually put out a serious amount of healing, yeah, you're gonna be in a bit of a pickle there. I'm gonna be honest. Make sure you check out the description if you are interested in a guide, because you've decided to pick up Zenyatta. He is an incredibly powerful support when you learn to wield him well. Coming in at number 2 will not surprise you too much. We have Juno, and admittedly, Juno's one that I don't know nearly as much about. When she first came out, I was kind of like, oh, it's just a support tracer, which, I mean, to a certain point, not untrue, but very strong support tracer. Very strong. Very strong. It's a lot like the Ana concept, where you can shoot with your same type of fire at any target and it'll be a benefit. If you're shooting an enemy, you'll do damage. If you shoot your allies, it'll do healing. You don't have to do a different kind of shooting like you do with Baptiste or Illari or many of the other supports. You just keep holding down left click and change your target as needed, and you will do well. Obviously, she has a lot of really good stuff as well in her kit, like this speed ring here. She can also come up over here, do a little glide boost here. It's a good time. I think that Juno is a lot of fun. I will say that in comparison to the other supports that I've talked about so far, she does feel a little underwhelming in her damage, and that's okay, because where she shines is her utility, which is things like her ultimate, things like the speed ring, things like this right click here. I don't remember what it's called, to be honest with you, but it either heals or does damage. It's absolutely amazing. I think that her utility that she offers her team is probably why she has the stats she does. Let's get to those. Juno is coming in at a whopping 7.06% pick rate, and that is absolutely insane. I mean, I was blown away that Zenyatta had a 3.07 to be fair. Juno having over a 7% pick rate is nuts, especially because even with that, she maintains a 51.93% win rate. That is freaking nuts. All that said, Juno's biggest strength is going to be her ultimate. I do not have anything else to give her. Her ultimate is so unbelievably strong that you just need to be doing your best to farm your ultimate and pop it pretty much every team fight. When there's an opportunity to turn the fight because of it, you will be thankful, and so will your team. Trust me. Her biggest weakness, however, in my mind, is going to be poke compositions, because as you can see, she suffers from a very serious damage fall off. I mean, you can see this here. She's not really doing much damage. She's also going to struggle into poke composition. So that means on a team with a poke and into a team with a poke composition, I feel like she would struggle pretty heavily, just because she's not going to be able to be in her effective range as much. Maybe I'm just talking out my butt there. It's always a chance. Maybe I'm triggering all of you in the comments right now, but that's just what my initial thoughts are at the current understanding of the game that I have. Again, make sure you check out the description for the guide from KJ. I'm sure he'll go into a lot better detail and share strengths, weaknesses, and more that are much beyond my scope of understanding. And finally, as much as it pains me to say, at the number 1 spot is Mercy. Please don't do this. Don't be this kind of a Mercy player. I mean, there's really not Oh, it just hurts me every time I pick up this hero. I'm just like, really? This hero? This one? Well, by some kind of insane feat, she has a 9.14% pick rate, and she has a 53.52% win rate. Isn't that kind of crazy? I feel really weird doing practice range with Mercy. What are you supposed to do in here? I mean, you don't whip out the Glock all that often. You're supposed to sit here back and forth and heal the friendly bots. I mean, what do you do? Well, I figure if none of you are going to take me seriously to have Mercy in the practice range, we may as well make it something that's popular and see if I can do this and talk at the same time. I kind of doubt it. Mercy's biggest strength is her damage boost and movement abilities. Those are going to be the areas that she excels in, especially if you can actually do them, unlike me. Man, I really suck at this. Her weakness, in my experience, has always been brawl compositions, because she just you can't really stay close. She's got to float around and go from target to target. And where she would excel is in a poke composition, because she can move between damage boosting the damage heroes that are on their off angles, as they should be in a poke comp. Am I actually doing well? This is probably my best run on Flappy Mercy I've ever done. Is it because I'm talking facts? I'm dead. Anyways, in all seriousness, make sure you check out Cager's Mercy Guide, because as you can tell, I play no Mercy. I just share what I see from Overbuff. I doubt that we get anywhere further, but I'll let you know if we do. Nope, we sure didn't. Before you have gone rushing to the comments to share your take, please be kind to each other. At the end of the day, it's a video game, and to be fair, you're arguing with stats. But you can check out this video right here, where I did the same thing that I did with the support heroes in this video, but for tank, to hopefully make your life a little less painful as a tank player.